colors going on here. So I appreciate everybody. Hey, everyone, we are live. Excited that you are here. It's been a while. I appreciate each and every one of you taking your valuable time to be a part of this show. And this show is really, really, really important. I've been getting lots of messages from people asking when I'm coming back. So I'm back and going to be doing this for, well, as long as I do it until next time, right? We are going to be talking about the blind spot of ROI. Now, I want you to think about what it is that I just said. What do you think is the blind spot of ROI? Now, most of us know that ROI literally means return on investment. But see, most of us don't understand what our greatest investment is and how we can get that investment to give us back what it is that we hope to achieve. Now, this is really important for people to understand because, see, every single moment of your life, every single moment of your life, you're investing into this. Now, before I tell you what it is, I really want you to know that your focus, your attention is your life force. Now, I want you to think about that. What does that mean in your life force? Because, see, the more we put into this thing called our focus and our energy and our intention, we literally are building something that is literally becoming something that much bigger, that much stronger, that much more captivating to who we are. But see, most of us don't understand. Well, I didn't until I learned this stuff. I didn't understand that the more we focus on something, the more it's going to expand, the more we become subject to it. That means the more life it takes on. And we haven't even really looked at what is it within ourselves that is creating this. See, my friends, understand the thing that you have been invested into more than anything else in your entire life is your story, is your life story, right? It's your life story that we have spent all this energy in creating what we believe that we are and what it is that we are meant to do, right? So what I've done is I've expanded on like return on investment. What return on the investment are you getting on all this attention that you have put into creating this thing called your life? Like, what is the meaning of your life? What is the meaning of the story that you have created within all areas of your life? Like, what is the meaning that you have attached to the person that you are in relationships, whether it's significant other, whether it's a friend, whether it's a worker, whether it's an entrepreneur, whatever it is, you have invested into a story that has impacted your ability to really create the life that you want to create. Now, I've been watching, so I'm going to give you a secret. I'm going to give you a massive secret because I've been watching this for the last couple of days, and I really am going to share something with you in this particular show. One of the secrets that has been responsible for literally me being a full-time entrepreneur since 2004. Actually 2003, but 2004. So almost 20 years full time, right? And what that was I had a mentor. So I was in a place in my life where I wasn't really feeling fulfilled in my jewelry industry. And for some of you that have followed me for a long time, understand that I was a master jeweler for 20 plus years, plus a designer, all that stuff, had a very, very successful business online, was in the process of building it. And that was catalyzed by me working with somebody that I literally, like, I hated working for this person. And I don't use that word unless it has been warranted. And me telling you that I hated working for this place, I hated it. I was miserable. I literally remember one day I had a situation where I had ended up chipping a stone. And yes, there's jewelers that chip stones. It's either they have or they haven't yet. That's one of the trade secrets. That I was literally sick. I could not go back to work the next day because I was literally sick of thinking about what was it that I had done. And this is the type of environment that I was in. But I got a mentor, and I had had mentors long before that. I started getting mentors, and I've always had mentors since 1990. It's been a massive, important part of my life. And he said to me, let this opportunity motivate you to become the person that you want to become. And as soon as I did that, friends, I'm telling you, my life started to shift massively. But see, what he also did, this is the secret. This is the secret. See, I'm one of those people, I have no problem sharing the resources that have been responsible for getting me where I'm at today. And the big one, the biggest thing, the most important thing that I have ever done that has been the biggest catalyst to shift my life massively in the shortest amount of time with the greatest return on investment was me getting a coach. Like that was the big one. Like I had read hundreds and thousands of books, courses, spent $500,000 on courses, education, and all this other stuff. But the big shift was me getting a coach. But he shared with me, he says, there's two books that I have studied. Now, when I say study, it's not just read. It's study. Like you have gone through them many, many times and gleaned from them the information that has been literally responsible for the person that I have come today. One of them was The Key to Power and Personal Peace by U.S. Anderson. That book has now been retitled Three Magic Words. And the other one was this book, Think and Grow Rich. Now, this book here, I have literally listened to that book probably 300 plus times. I used to just sit in my jewelry studio and listen to it over and over and over. And the part that's really, really important about this is understanding I had to invest into something to overwrite the programs that I had been conditioned to believe about who I was and what was possible. See, I grew up in an environment where education wasn't that important to us, right? My dad did say something to me that has been responsible for being part of who I am today. And he said, put more emphasis on your brain than your back. Like learn how to use your mind more than your back. Because my dad had been a laborer most of his life and knew that that wasn't the way that he could achieve the things that he knew that I wanted to achieve. So I'm really, really grateful for that insight. But see, the other part of this is understanding that there inside of Think and Grow Rich, there's a story about Thomas Edison. And the reason I'm sharing this story is for you to get in touch with how do you invest into the stories, into the experiences that you have had in your life. In 1954, Thomas Edison was sent home from school. He was sent home from school with a note. And he didn't know what that note was because it was in a sealed envelope. And he was instructed to give that note to his mother. He gave that note to his mother. She opened it up and basically was saying, you're too genius. The school is too small for you. They can't support you. So we're asking you to educate Thomas Edison at home. He's too much for us. We can't do that. That's the letter she read to him. And come to find out, many, many years later, in 1905, he was going through his old belongings, and there was the note that his mom had read, and he pulled it out, and it said, your son is adult. He is mentally slow and unable to think clearly, and do not let him come to school anymore, from the headmaster. Now think about what happened. She saw that note. She saw it as an opportunity to know that whatever she says is going to be responsible for the future of her son. And she told him that you're genius. You're too much for this school. But if she had told him what the school wanted to convey, Thomas Edison wouldn't have been Thomas Edison. So my point in telling you this whole story is, what story are you investing into for yourself? Because see, friends, we all have a story. And the more we invest into that story, the more powerful that story becomes. Now, I'm telling you, I have a PhD, self-proclaimed, okay? I'm not one on the internet. I'm not a doctor on the internet, nor do I pretend to be one. But I had a story that I was a worthless piece of garbage. That used to be my story. Used to be I had shit for brains, and I use that word literally because that's the way I used to communicate with myself. I said I'm never going to amount to anything. I did not want to live to be beyond the age of 25 years of age. Did not want to live to be 25 years of age. Of course, now I've doubled that. But see, that was my story. And that story was responsible for me almost ending my sister's life and my own life in a near fatal car accident. See, we play out the stories that we invest into. We play out the stories we invest into. It takes the same amount of energy to invest into a story that you are capable of achieving massive things. But see, I'm not about positive thinking. I am not a fan of positive thinking because I know about enough about doing unconscious and subconscious work that understanding that the program that is playing underneath the surface of our conscious mind is going to be way more powerful than what our conscious mind can do. And if we're not dealing with what is going on inside of us, then our conscious mind, we're just burning up a lot of effort because our beliefs within ourselves is going to be way more powerful. Okay. So I've done a lot of work around that. And I've come to this place where with me and my clients and my students of really understanding how important it is for you to get very, very clear about the story that you tell ourselves. Because see, friends, understand, we have archetypes. And if you look at an archetype is a meta program that we play within ourselves. That's why we take all the personality tests, the Myers-Briggs, the Enneagram, the astrology, like all these different tests that we take, assessments that we take, is nothing more than a meta program of what it is that we play underneath what is going on consciously, right? The humors like Hippocrates came up with, right? Like there's tendencies that we have within ourselves that are part of what it is that create how we show up in everyday life. Now, if we're not aware of them, then we cannot consciously put things into place that are going to support us in becoming the person that we were meant and desired to be, right? So what is your story when it comes to you 10x in your life? What is a story that tells you? Now, this is the other thing that we do, and this is really, really, really important. And I really want you to take notes on this, because how you characterize who you are and how you show up and how you characterize past experiences is how you have to hold space for each one of those. So if there's experiences in your life that you actually characterize like you wish it never happened, or that you created a certain narrative out of that experience, and I'll just share one with me that massively impacted my ability to get up in front of people. And I'll share that story with you here. That when I was in kindergarten, okay, we were doing the alphabet. We were making sounds for the alphabet. And guess which one was the first one called? It was me, right? Like I was the first kid that got called on how to pronounce A. I had to pronounce the sound of A. And guess what I said? I said something that I got absolutely humiliated for. Now, how many of you have had that experience? Like you answered something and you ended up getting humiliated for that experience, and you have no idea what program got created into you as a result of that. So what I said is I said apple, because I knew that the word apple started with A. I said apple. The entire class laughed at me, and the teacher said, "You are wrong." Not understanding that everything is energy, vibration, and frequency. So in that moment, I had the entire class laugh at me. That was an energetic, vibrational experience that infused inside of me. And I went, I don't ever, ever want to experience this again. So guess what? Think about how that shows up in your life when somebody, if you're in an event and somebody's asking a question, you're not going to raise your hand and put yourself out there because you don't ever want to experience that humiliation again. How many of us have that story? Like they say that public speaking is the greatest fear next to being burned alive, right? See, it's not, and I'm going to tell you a massive secret about this. So it's not the public speaking that we are afraid of. It's not being hackled by the people that we are speaking to that is really the fear. Friends, what I'm about to share with you right now can change your life from this moment forward. It is the conversation you have about yourself that you're really afraid of, right? And so what I'm doing is I'm going to be teaching some series on the blind spot of the ROI. Like that's what this whole conversation is about. I'm doing a challenge here, like in the middle of July. I'm still working out some details on it, but the early birds are the ones who are going to get the best benefit of it, because obviously you're going to get lots of content in before that. But it's called the ROI Accelerator Challenge, right? And so what that is reframing, re-identifying what ROI means. ROI, literally, the R means to remember. Right? Like there was a time in your life where you were fearless. You were fearless. Now, I know that might be challenging for some of you, but understand 75% of what you know that you access was by the age of 5. Right? Like this is when all of these imprinted experiences you had got imprinted into you. And if we do not reframe those stories or revisit those stories or rechange the narrative of those stories are going to continue to run our lives. And neuroscientists say that by the age of 35, 95% of our life is automatic. So if you want a different life than where you've had, now I was at a mastermind group this last Wednesday, and this is just what I experienced in the environments that I've created for myself. They asked the question, what is really stopping you from experiencing the success that you want? What is really stopping you from experiencing the success that you want to create? And friends, I've heard this over and over and over and over. And I could sit there and say over and over and over a bunch of times and still not quantify how much I've really experienced this. Number one answer is me. Number one answer is me. Okay, cool. Got it. What is it about me that is stopping me from creating the life that I truly want to live? And I work with 6, 7, 8, 9-figure entrepreneurs, right? I've seen 9-figure entrepreneurs be absolutely miserable. like kill themselves working, but they're miserable because of how they've designed their life, right? I've taken entrepreneurs from barely into the six figures and taken them into the high seven figures of doing what they do in their life, because I teach them how to come from a place of being rather than a place of doing, right? So understand, you remember, like you reconnect to who you were once upon a time. Because see, here is, I would write this one down. Fearlessness. This is what fearlessness is. Now, friends, I'm here to tell you, I have fear every single day. Okay. But I understand I have these tools that support me in moving through these. Fearlessness is letting go of the anticipation of loss. Fearlessness is letting go of the anticipation of loss. And see, we're not very good at losing things. Our ego freaks out when we are giving up on something, right? So that's remember. You stepping into the part of you that was fearless when you were a child. Like, you think about how transformational it was for you to move from crawling on all fours up to two legs. Like, you're in a completely different dimension, right? Like, that was a massive, massive shift in your life, right? And then you go from that, most of us ended up learning how to ride a bicycle, right? Another massive shift in what we believed what was possible. See, two biggest fears of a child. Number one is falling, right? So you think about going up from all fours up onto two legs. Now your pain, the pain you're going to experience when you fall just increased exponentially. Then you put yourself on a bike. Now you get to go a lot faster, and the probability of you crashing and all that stuff, if you don't understand balance, increases exponentially. Okay, so your pain threshold just went through the roof, or your pain possibility went through the roof, right? So you have gone through lots of things beyond what you ever thought was possible. But see, we've been conditioned. We have been conditioned what limitations are. We have been conditioned what doubts are. We have been conditioned by beliefs that hold us back. Right? So when we step out into accelerate and expand in who we are, this is what we start accessing. When we step out into the unknown, right, we access infinite programs, right? And this is why it's so important for you to understand what that really, really looks like, right? So the R is for remember. The O is for optimize, right? Now, if you think about what does optimize mean? It means operating as efficiently and as effectively as possible that is aligned and congruent to your truest self of who you are meant to be, right? It's a mouthful, but understanding. So if you think about every time your phone operating system is updated, right? Like mine happens at nighttime. Well, it doesn't happen at nighttime, but sometimes I'll get on there and boom, it'll have a new operating system update. But then what is required of the rest of the phone after your operating system has been updated? It requires all of the apps to update as well. If the apps do not update and align with the operating system, what happens to the app? It becomes obsolete. But see, we've got all kinds of programs running within ourselves that are obsolete, that are they're not worthy anymore. They're not effective and efficient for us anymore because they've been outdated. Right? And see, again, okay, this is going to be really, really powerful. Why? Well, see, we hang on to beliefs, and this is why we hang on to beliefs. So imagine this. Imagine the child that you have, right? Some of you don't have childs, but you can play along with me. Imagine that you have your child, and you're looking down at your child right after your child was born, and you look down and you go, man, this is an amazing experience, right? Like, whoa, it's an incredible experience. Right? Like there's this connection that words cannot articulate, right? Like it's just so profound and so powerful, right? And you're looking down at this child and you're having all this emotion coming up the side. Every single one of you can remember that moment in the second. Like I just brought it up and you went right back to that child if you've had a child, right? If you haven't had a child, then just go along with me, right? But see, then as that child grows up and you're watching that child play sporting events and you're watching that child do different things, what child in that playground are you watching? Obviously, it's yours. It's obviously your child, right? It's not like you don't care for the other children, but why is it that you're so attached to that child? The reason you're attached to that child is because it's part of you, and you were part of creating it. You were part of creating that child. And see, my friends, this is what we do with beliefs. This is why we have a challenge within ourselves of letting go of beliefs that got us to where we're at that will not get us to where we want to go. Let me repeat that. We created beliefs that got us to where we're at, but won't support us in getting where we want to go. Okay. So we've got to look at what beliefs are in line with where it is that we want to go, right? The statistics are everywhere about this, friends. This is why I love working with entrepreneurs, because an entrepreneur is a professional problem solver. Like, that's why I love being an entrepreneur and working with entrepreneurs, right? Like, they get up in the morning and they're all jazzed about creating new, on coming up with different solutions. But see, the thing is if they don't understand what's going on in their inner world, they're going to have all kinds of things going on that are not going to be supportive and aligned with what it is that they truly want to create. Okay. So R, remember, O for optimize, I is for influence. Now, I've gotten a lot of feedback on this on some of the courses that I've taught, like the Potential Code, Ace Prosperity, Program for Prosperity, Mastering Potential, like all these different courses that I've talked about. And I've always mentioned that I'm going to be doing this course on influence. And I've just got enough feedback that I was going to create an entire course around this. But I've made some executive decisions that want to support people as much as I can, because, friends, I see there is all kinds of stuff that is going on that is not aligned with your highest self. Now, that's going to land however that lands for you, but understand, if you don't understand influence, it is being used on you. If you do not understand how words are used and how they're set up and how we create narratives about somebody else's words, we are giving our life force away to someone else's narrative. And if they know how to create a narrative inside of your head, it's called mental ownership. It is called mental ownership. Okay. And it's a very effective tool in doing sales, right? The ones that tell the story. This is why stories are so impactful. Like, I've studied the hero's journey. Like, I've studied how to create stories. I've learned how to create metaphors for people so that they can let go of the stories that do not serve them and understand what is possible in a story. See, if you have a story, then there's no resistance, right? And if you're looking at an authority figure, think of the word authority, like, what is the first part of that authority? It's called author. You are the authority of your life. But see, we haven't been taught this stuff in school. Why? Because the school system, the educational system, was created to create workers. Okay. Now, if you're a worker, no judgment. I spent many years doing that, right? But I believe that we are all designed and destined to step into our greatness and to be able to create what it is that we are meant to create in the way we are meant to create it. Okay. There is no other person on this planet ever has been, is, or ever will be like you. Like, we could all read 10 books. All of us could read the same book. 10 people could read the same book, and that is 10 different books. This is our opportunity. But see, what ends up happening is that we influence ourselves based on our environment. We influence ourselves based on what we think is possible based on the environment that we were raised in. Again, 75% of what we access when we start stepping out into the unknown was before the age of 5. Right? Like, I did not trust my instincts. Right? Like, my whole instinct was on survival. Right? So you cannot thrive using survival strategies. Okay. So I just want you to think about it. And this is my passion. Like, I am super, super excited for this next challenge that I'm going to be doing in the middle of July. And you can access it by going ROIacceleratorchallenge.com. And I've got lots of gifts for those that sign up for the VIP. Highly recommend you doing the VIP. But I'm really, really excited about doing this because I've watched, friends, understand, there are people out there that are fighting. They will fight to the death for what they believe. And here's the danger. They don't even know why they believe what they believe. But when you understand influence and you understand sleight, they call it sleight of mouth. What is magic called? It's called sleight of hand. You do the trick, you get their attention over here, and you do the trick over here, and it looks magical. It's the same thing with sleight of mouth. When you understand linguistics and you understand how people are set up to do the things that they do, again, I tell that, like, anybody that's taken my courses, I've mentioned this. If you haven't watched it yet, I highly recommend you go watch it. Go watch Experimenter. I think there's a couple different movies out there, but it's the one with Ashley Judd. It's actually a movie about a true documentary that took place and how authority impacts our life, right? If you don't understand influence, it's being used on you. If you are not going to take responsibility for your own influence within yourself, somebody else has already done it, right? And understand, most of what's going on in this world, most of the high elite they're all Most of them are lawyers. What are lawyers very, very good at? Lawyers are very, very good at linguistics, and they're very, very good at painting a picture that supports what it is that they want to create for their client. Okay. If you don't understand it, it's being used on you. Okay. And the other part that's important is a lot of the stuff that's influencing you of what you think is possible or not possible was imprinted in you as a child. Right. So like this challenge, I'm going deep. Like I'm going really, really, really deep. It's a 3-day challenge. It's going to be over. It's going to be Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I can support you so that you can be there all day, all 3 days. And I'm bringing it. Like this is going to be the workshop that's going to change people's lives, and I'm super, super excited about it. So good to see everybody again. I'm going to be jumping on here a number of times between now and then. It's good to see everybody. Thank you so much for all the comments and everything that everybody's been reaching out to me and messages in between the last show that I've done. And a lot of people have been asking me, when are you coming back? So I'm back, and I'm glad to be here and super excited to be teaching you guys this stuff. It's life-changing. Like this is the stuff that I take, like I said, barely making 6-figure entrepreneurs and turn them into 7 and 8 figures. And it's been responsible for 1,000x in my income. Literally like, not quite 1,000x, but 1,000% for sure. So I appreciate each and every one of you. I appreciate your support. I always appreciate your questions that you reach out, because it supports me in what content that I can put out there. Also, really important, please join me on TikTok at Coach Jeff Faldon. Coach Jeff Faldon on TikTok. I'd love to support you over there. That's where I'm putting a lot of my content now, just because of the algorithms and what's going on over here. So I appreciate and love each and every one of you, and I will see you soon. Be blessed, my friend. And as always, live like your life depends on it, because it does. Take care.